Are you feeling low? I am. You need this boost in sales. You're not doing well. You want to be a better salesperson. Well, then, if that is so, then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Jose Villablanca, the founder and CEO of HoliFit, which is an employee engagement company. HoliFit's right there. Okay. I'm an author, so I wrote a book during the pandemic when things were really slow for me, because I was a personal trainer back then. Or HoliFit was an employee engagement company, so when the pandemic hit, I had to pivot and figure something out until COVID was over. This was pre-AI, by the way, writing the book. I've been a personal trainer since 2007. My experience started in Canada and then moved back to the Philippines in 2017. I was training again here because I wasn't successful in Canada. I was living paycheck to paycheck over there. So I said, you know what, let me try my luck here in the Philippines where I grew up. And then a year later, we went B2B. So from B2C, which is training clients one-on-one, we went B2B, where we help engage employees and reduce stress in the workplace while increasing productivity and happiness through our wellness services. And now I have a team of less than 10 people and a lot of AI automating things. Been through a lot of failures. Going through a slump right now, actually, thanks to the war in Iran. And clients are again working from home, cutting costs. So yeah, I understand when sales are low, marketing is not working, and I'm going to share with you for almost 2 decades in the industry, and essentially a salesperson. Yes, I might be a personal trainer, but I sell my services. I sell my team services now, and I'm going to share some tips on how hard times has helped me understand things. So first is being stoic. First of all, so that's the first step. You have to understand that there'll be ups and downs throughout life. That's part of it. It's never a trajectory up, straight up, right? There are ups and downs. But if you have an iPad and if you do a graph here, right, and you zoom out or zoom in, you'll start to see the ups and downs, the dips. But when you zoom out and you see the grand scheme of things, right, that line is going upwards. As long as it's going upwards, even there's some downs, that's part of it. So the first thing is not being sorry for yourself, okay? And that's one thing I learned about Stoicism. It happens to all of us. We don't say, God, why me? Why has all these bad things happen to me? It happens to everyone, okay? And when you understand that, you can move forward and understand that this is just a phase. It's just a process. And yes, you'll actually get better if you go through this rather than avoiding it, okay? It'll teach you a lot. In fact, I learned way more from my failures than success, because success, you just keep doing the same stuff over and over again, right? And in order to stay successful, you have to upskill, right? Learn new things so that your competitors don't catch up. But sometimes we rest on our laurels, we relax, and our competition catches up, right? But when we fail, keeps us grounded, brings us back to, rock bottom is a good foundation. I like that. And you learn, and you get stronger because of these challenges. Just like working out, when the resistance is strong, so lifting heavier or trying to run faster, you get stronger because of that. Okay? So that's the first step right there. Understand that it's normal. Okay? And it happens to all of us. And just move ahead anyway. Okay, the second tip I have here is, I just want to share a bit more about myself. So in the late 2000s, mid 2000s, I moved to Canada as an immigrant, okay? And then I became a personal trainer. And then towards the end of the late 2000s, I was awarded the top selling personal trainer in the biggest fitness gym chain in Canada. So that's pretty good. It just happened for 1 month. But for an immigrant, that's pretty good, right? Here in the Philippines, we speak English, but it's not the same. Culture is different. So I learned a lot there. I like to say I was born and raised in the Philippines, but I grew up in Canada. It really matured me there. So how did I sell that much? I just built self-confidence. I didn't believe in excuses. I didn't say that, I didn't have the right connections. I did it anyway. All right. I didn't say that I wasn't privileged or I didn't have enough resources. I would do it despite being an immigrant, despite not knowing anyone, despite moving to a new country and trying it out for myself, right? So there's all these self-doubt. All right, so how do you kill self-doubt? Exercise gives you more confidence and self-esteem. So if you're in sales, exercise. Another thing you can do is, which leads to my second thing. So it just all meshes up. So excuse me if I'm going all over the place, but they're all connected. The second tip here is self-doubt. Exercise. Exercise leads to when you challenge yourself, do hard things, and you go through those hard things. It gives you self-confidence. If I can do this, I can do other things, right? It just radiates outwards. It radiates everywhere else, in every facet of your life. So if I can work out hard, if I can lift harder, if I can run faster, I can do more sales calls. I can outwork the other trainers, right? How else can you build self-confidence? Eat clean, get enough sleep, because when you eat clean, you have better focus. And you eat dirty, you think dirty, mental fog, lethargy, all that stuff, right? When you get enough sleep, you think better. You have a clear mind, as opposed to when you don't get enough sleep, right? You're tired, you make the wrong decisions, you're short-tempered, okay? So that's how you build self-confidence, and which also leads to the third thing here, which is consistent action leads to results. So when you eat clean, you're not going to get a six-pack after one, good meal, after one salad. By the same token, on the other side of the coin, when you eat dirty or unhealthy, you're not getting fat after that one meal. But if you consistently do one of those things for a few months, I was going to say consistent, sound redundant, then you can expect to get a certain result, get healthier, get fitter, right? So consistent action leads to results. So doing a lot of sales calls, you're still not closing clients, leads, prospects. It's okay. Keep doing it. Understand your numbers. What's your closing rate? Where are you failing? What's the sticking point? Why is it happening? It gives you data, right? And you just keep doing it. So you want to use data, which is from the past, to change your future. So if you don't have numbers, just like if you don't have your diet or calories or macros, if you don't know them, how are you going to expect to lose some weight? If you don't know what your PR is, your personal record, right? How fast you can run a 5K, how many reps you did on your last set, what your 1 rep max is. How you expect to get stronger or lose fat, right? If you're not checking your body fat percentage, not checking your girth measurements around, your chest, your arms, your thighs, your waist. If you don't have data, how would you know that's going to get you somewhere, right? So data is a present from the past that will project your future, okay? So that's another thing I want to say. Consistent action leads to results, okay? The next thing is cortisol kills closes. I like that one. That sounds bad. Cortisol kills closes. When you're stressed, just like I am now because of the war in Iran, more of our clients are working from home, which means we have less events, which means less income. And they're tightening the budget too, right? Because living expenses are getting more expensive. And I could just be in this fight or flight response, and the sympathetic nervous system is acting up because of all these stressors. And the cortisol goes up. That's a stress hormone, right? But one thing you can do when you're stressed is take deep breaths, okay? It moves you from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. It relaxes you. And when you're relaxed, you can get more creative, as opposed to when you're stressed out, you're always fighting or flying away from the stressors. You're always focused on what's going wrong, what's stressing you out. But when you're relaxed, you can be more creative and find better solutions to get you out of that rut, okay? So yes, we go through hard times, but it's only a phase. Um, just have to believe in it, okay? Just like consistent action leads to result, you just have to believe in it. And when you have data to back that up, when you have studies, then it gives you more confidence, more inspiration, more motivation to keep pushing, okay? So always educate yourself. Going back to the privilege, so that's my fourth thing that I want to talk about here. When you feel like you're not making sales, don't always excuse yourself from results. Don't always say, "Oh, this guy's doing better than I am because he's well connected, or because he has better education." Whatever it may be. Whenever you say someone is more privileged or luckier than you are, you're essentially perpetuating your situation, right? But if you stop saying those things and you just do it anyway, despite not having the connections, despite being an immigrant, despite not really knowing how to sell, I'll do it anyway. I'll learn as I go through the process, through the journey. Okay? Then you stop. Stop it right there. You nip it in the bud. But every time you say an excuse, you're just reliving your situation. So you can either have excuses or you can have results. You can only choose one. Okay? So in order to get results, you need to stop believing those excuses. Might be true, right? These could be reasons, but stop it. Do it anyway. Okay? Okay, so the next thing is confidence. So how did I gain that confidence as an immigrant trying to sell my services or starting this company here in the Philippines? I actually didn't really think I'd start a company here with a team with me. And almost, 5, 6, 7 years into the business now, working with multinational companies, international companies as well. One of the best actually here in the Philippines. I don't want to brag, but you can Google it. You can search it on ChatGPT or whatever. Because I essentially moved back to the Philippines with my tail between my legs because I felt like a failure in Canada. I was living paycheck to paycheck over there. So I said, okay, let me try my luck here in the Philippines because nothing's happening in Canada. I was just having fun, but didn't have this financial stability. So my morale was really low. My self-confidence was really low. But I just reminded myself, I got a fresh start. I'm privileged enough that I have, a family to come home to, and support me. So I tried. I was just a personal trainer here. And then, luckily, I trained like C-suite executives, business owners, and they said, "Oh, you should do this for my company." And then it just followed the money, right? So and then we continued to grow. We grew, kept growing. Despite the pandemic, we were growing. Now we have this war in the Middle East, and it's affecting us a lot because we rely on all that oil coming from the Middle East. The Philippines is very dependent on that. But I have to push anyway and just, believe that it's going to be fine eventually because I will learn a lot from my mistakes, right? In fact, I learn a lot more from my mistakes than my successes, right? I think I've said that before. So you just have to believe in it, be confident in it, and sometimes it might not sound right, but I would think my competitors might not survive this. So if I get out of this hardship, then we will be the obvious one to choose, right? And or if they cut down on our services, our clients anyway, they realize that they really need us, right? And they'll come back. Hopefully, that's the case. So yeah, what builds confidence? Understanding that going back to consistent action leads to results. So you find studies that say that if you exercise, you're gonna lose weight. If you exercise, you're gonna gain more self-confidence. If you're gonna do cold calling, eventually you're gonna close the deal, right? That's your closing rate essentially, right? If you do all these marketing efforts and you see all these leads, and then your conversion rate, so it moves down the funnel, right? So yeah. Having data to push you, right? That gives you confidence. So that I think talked about that earlier as well. The data, it's just a present. It's a present from the past. They'll project your future. All right. Talking about consistency again. Going back, I forgot something here. Sorry. I know that I just have to be consistent in making these videos. Look, if you check right now, it's the last day of May 2026. I have 29 subscribers. Each video on HoliBiz has less than 10 views. Um, but I know, it's just a numbers game, because eventually people starting a YouTube channel or starting a business, they eventually drop out as time goes by. So it really is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So knowing these facts gives me confidence, right? What else gives you confidence? Exercise, right? Gives you self-confidence and self-esteem, because when you do hard things, um, you gain more self-confidence, right? If I can do this, I can do that. If I can do that for my business, I can do this. Keeps on going, radiates outwards, keeps on growing, right? And when you exercise, you sleep better at night. It's deeper sleep. And when you get deep sleep, you're more rested the next day, which means you think better. And because you eat clean and you sleep right, you want to eat healthier. And because you eat healthier, you feel better. Now, it's not like chronological, the order, right? But one or the other, one of those three, they come one way or another, right? Some people, they'll eat clean first, and because they eat clean, they want to start exercising. Some people, they sleep earlier, and because they sleep earlier, they have more energy the next day, and then they start exercising, making it a habit, right? What else gives you confidence? If you're on a slump, not really selling, invest in yourself, invest in your education. What really helped me sell a lot of packages, and don't think of sales as a bad thing, because I was selling them their dream of fitness, right? So they paid me in order for me to help them achieve their fitness goals, right? So I sold without hard selling, by the way, just educating them. I invested in my education, and because I have more certifications, it gave me more self-confidence. So if you're in sales, definitely watch more videos like these. Hopefully I'm doing a good job. Join some courses, find a mastermind group, be around people who are successful, who know more than you, because then they will uplift you, right? What's that saying? Oil or water finds its own level eventually, right? Iron sharpens iron. You know how it goes, right? So yeah, invest in your education. That's very important. It's always continued learning. Just like I said earlier, I must have said this in previous videos too. If you're at the top, if you're the best in your industry, and if you want to stay at the peak of the mountaintop, it's one thing to get to the top. It's another thing to stay there, right? You have to upscale. You have to learn new things so that your competitors don't catch up. So always invest in your education. Understand what latest tech there is, how AI can help you, etc., etc., etc. All right? And lastly, I would say fail forward, right? So if you really hate sales, cold calling, just do it anyway, because you'll learn a lot from your failures. You'll understand your closing rate. You'll understand where you're failing and what you can do to improve on it. Right? I remember when I was doing really well as a personal trainer in a commercial gym, I was overly confident. So I left the commercial gym and, yeah, started working in a personal training studio. But then I failed less than 6 months, less than a year, whatever. It was about 6 months. And I couldn't get out of my lease, so I had to buy a ticket to the Philippines and say I had to fly back home for some family issues, stuff like that, in order to avoid the contract. So, yeah, I went on vacation in the Philippines with my tail between my legs again. But it taught me a lot. It taught me how to forecast my income and how did I do that? By signing up more long-term clients. That's one thing that helped. Taught me I needed to do more marketing and not rely on foot traffic in the gym. It taught me how to ask for referrals. It taught me how to build systems so that, I have a well-lubed engine that could keep going, right? And one biggest thing that taught me was selling long-term packages, because then you would get really focused clients who want to achieve their goals. And when you had the fully booked schedule, you don't have to worry about sales and marketing anymore, right? You just had to focus on the client. So that freed up a lot of mental space for me. So there you have it, guys. I feel like I was going over the place. It's actually the second time I shot this video because the first one had bad audio. So I don't know what I said in the first video that I didn't want to repeat in this second video. But anyway, if you made it to the end, thank you. And if you want to learn more on how you could be a better salesperson, especially if you're in the fitness industry here in the Philippines, or if you're in a sales team here in the Philippines and you need that motivation, contact me. I could help you guys grow your business if you're a solopreneur, if you're a sales team, and how I grew my business. Okay, there are a lot of sales coaches out there that they know a lot, but they've never really have their own business. So it's one thing to know through studying, and it's one thing to know through the school of hard knocks. Again, this is Jose Villablanca. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next video. If you have any recommendations or other topics you'd like me to discuss, reach out. Thanks for watching, guys. Till the next one.